the most popular book in the world besides the Bible. The most popular book is The Imitation of Christ. We talked about the three pillars of the spiritual life: spiritual reading, predominant fault, and prayer. These are your three pillars, the three fronts where you are fighting the spiritual combat on all three fronts. Spiritual reading is your reinforcements. That's where you go to refresh yourself every single day. You do your spiritual reading. Spiritual reading is essential for the spiritual life. It's what charges you up, what gives you that recharge, that refreshment to go out and fight the good fight against your predominant fault. Prayer is the front that you're fighting on at every moment. And it's also one of the three weapons. The three weapons: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And we talked about fasting a lot last week and before. Ash Wednesday is 1 week away, which is an obligatory day of fasting, but it is very salutary for souls to take on bodily fasting that our fathers took on during Lent because of the three ends of fasting, which are overcoming your concupiscible appetite, your slavery to your flesh, penance, offering up penance for your sins and the sins of men, and contemplation, which lift up your mind and heart to God. But spiritual reading is that recharge. It is what you need to do every single day to recharge yourself. Best thing to do is do it the first thing in the morning. Spiritual reading. So the most important book to do is The Imitation of Christ. This copy is my favorite. It's published by Confraternity of the Precious Blood. What's great about it is it's obviously pocket size. You can fit in your pocket. You can take it with you. The Imitation of Christ is the most popular book, and with good reason. You start reading it, and it's a kick in the teeth every single day to take on the suffering of the cross, to conform your life to God. Chapter 1, Book 1, what doth it avail of thee to discourse profoundly of the Trinity, if thou be void of humility, and consequently displeasing to the Trinity? In truth, sublime words make not a man holy and just, but a virtuous life maketh him dear to God. I would rather feel compunction than know its definition. If thou didst know the whole Bible by heart, and the sayings of all the philosophers, what would it all profit thee without the love of God and his grace? See, brethren, many men go after doctrines and heresies which are good, but if you lack charity and you lack humility, what good will these doctrines be at the final judgment? Doctrine is the proper way to pray. That's the point of doctrine. The reason we go to the heights, to the most extreme fight against heresy, is because heresy compromises prayer. If you believe in a heresy, your intellect becomes darkened in your prayer. You cannot put together the prayer to unite yourself with God. Orthodox doctrine is about praying properly so that you can have union with God and be perfected in charity. If you lack charity, then your orthodox doctrine is not doing you any good because you're just puffed up with pride. So, Imitation of Christ. This is an essential work. If you haven't read it, take it up for Lent. Follow the link that's on this video. There's online copies for most of the works that I suggest that are just really the classics. It's not really me suggesting, these are just all the established classics. One of them is this Imitation of Christ. And you can get online copies for free, or you want a print copy, you can buy that. We'll also talk about Introduction to the Devout Life. We'll talk about Spiritual Combat, one of my favorites, or modern classics, Humility of Heart. We'll also talk about St. John Cassian. So he's one of the older classics you can get into as well, and some other works. So we'll talk about spiritual reading. Ash Wednesday is 1 week away. Get yourself ready. Get yourself with spiritual reading. Get a book, or online, or whatever. Get yourself ready for the great fast of Lent.